Greetings and welcome to Elder Open Games. Today's video is all about those clickety-clackety things that we love to roll with our role-playing games, dice. I was challenged to throw down my dice by Red Mage GM, one of my favorite channels on all of DungeonTube, and one of the best places to find advice on things like adventure design or reviews for specific adventures. If you haven't checked out his channel, I don't know what you're doing. Go subscribe right now. But what was a harmless and simple challenge sent to me by Red Mage GM turned out to be a harrowing awakening for me that I am truly a dice goblin. I have a duffel bag full of dice sitting just off camera, and it's a problem. Well, I think it all started when I was about 23, 24. I dove headlong into these things called tabletop role-playing games. I bought an absurd amount of dice and have just been collecting them and hoarding them for years and years. But anyway, this was a challenge I thought was fun, and I'm going to pitch to a few more people who I will leave in the description below. But I'm going to change things up and do it a little different. I'm going to show off my dice that are very strange and out of the ordinary, and then I'm going to show what I keep them in and what I roll them in. So here we go. This is not my house. I'm at like a clubhouse thing for my apartments, but I just wanted to show off some of the bags and things that I have all these dice in, and I'm not kidding when I say it's a lot. And because I never remember to do this, a big shout out to my patrons wherever it is that you support me. These are little minis I made in your honor for all the coffee you've bought me. Okay, I'm gonna start off with all my weirdest ones, and I might just zoom in a little bit here. These are just things I picked up at like cons along the way or either my local shop. And this is one of my favorite sets. I got this at a little store in Tampa, but I think they got it off Etsy. If I can find the link, I'll put it in the description. But essentially, if you're playing like 5e or any sort of classic sort of D&D style game, this is going to decide things like your class, your race, your alignment, and then the two axes of the alignment. So we'll just do a real quick roll and see what we get. Fighter, chaotic, evil, half-elf. Okay, not something I would normally pick, but that's kind of the fun of randomizing it. So yeah, it's got all the sort of classic results as well as a few more modern things like Dragonborn, and then I think there's an Artificer somewhere on here, but I'm struggling to find it right now. Okay, now I'm going to showcase some of my weirdo favorite D4s. Like this one I picked up, I want to say from MythicCon, and it has like a torch as the 4. So if you're ever rolling something where you need a 25% chance of success, you just roll it and hey, look at that. If it's a torch, it succeeds. And then these are like Roman numeral D4s that are actually D12s. So they're just a little bit more fun to roll than your standard D4. But these have been some of my favorites lately. These little, like, I don't know what you call that shape, but I really like the heart ones. You know, if you're rolling HP or something, like for a monster, like, oh, it has 2d4 HP. Well, there you go. It has 4 hearts. I just thought these were really fun and different. They remind me of like Zelda or something. And if you roll like potions, I think in 5e is 2d4. So, you know, you restore that many hearts. Because I said I was going to show off some things that I either keep my dice in or roll in. This was something I got from a local con. It's a leather dice tray that you can roll out. It's a little bit awkward, but the ends button together and they make a nice little roll area, which I'll show you now. Even though this roll area is a bit awkward, one thing I really do like about it is that I can roll up the whole mat, shove it in my pocket, or put it in a backpack. It's really compact and lightweight. And these were some weird D6s I bought at a con that have like bullets in the chamber to represent the numbers, and I got them just in case I play any weird West games like Tales from Elsewhere. Oh yeah, I forgot to sneak these in with my weird dice, but this is a cool little D2 that looks kind of like a coin, and it has a little bit of play to it. It can roll around. And these are some really cool bullet dice that Peter gave me when we were playtesting Tales from Elsewhere, and they just have the different wounds for that game, like serious and critical and stuff like that. Speaking of weird D6s, here's a bunch I got from like my local shop that say Wyvern's Tale, Games and Sundry. I got this Free League one from the booth at Gen Con. I have this fun Roman numeral D3, which I like to use for various things. This is one of my all-time favorite dice. It's just a yes-no dice. It's like a D2 on a D6. Got my dice from MythicCon, and someone at Paige gave me this one. I forgot your name, sorry. I have a lot of weird D6s. I'm gonna show off the bulk of them right now so this video doesn't get too long, but I think I originally bought like these are counters for Magic the Gathering. The white ones are positive, the black ones are negative. I got all these really cool D6s for things like tracking weather in different seasons. You know, like summer was red and winter is blue. And this was just a generic one for like basic different kinds of weather. Oh, and this was a fun one that you can do for like how a NPC's disposition is towards your characters. I have no idea what this is. I've got these fate dice, which are essentially like D3s, but I use them to determine things like boons and banes, positive and negatives, or nothing at all. I think this went to a G.I. Joe game and was at my local game store, and I just thought maybe it would have a fun use because there's like 1 strike, 2 strikes, or nothing. And some more where that came from. Oh, and if anyone can tell me what this is, please let me know, because it goes from like 4 to 64 and it seems like it just doubles the number every time. And I can't forget my favorite D6 of all, this chunky boy. I really want to get a second one so when I play 7 Delving Sins and I'm about to kill a player, I can roll these 2 giant dice at them. But yeah, I think it also glows in the dark, which is really fun, and is the size of a gelatinous cube if you want to use that as a mini and like roll it around on your map. Oh, and I got to show off this thing while I'm at it. This is just a giant dice bag with some Dyson logo maps on it, and it has pockets inside to keep different dice sets separate. I hardly use any of these anymore, but there's probably some sets in here, generic kind of sets I'll just give away at some point, or to players who show up to games and don't own any dice. While we're on the subject of D6s, I have these wooden D6s that were handmade. And then these really tiny itty bitty ones, which I used to call my sneaky dice. And I would roll them for like sneak attacks on a rogue. And I just had to show them in comparison to this chunky boy right here. At one point I was playing a lot of 5e and I thought these were really cool and dynamic to roll whenever you were doing death saves. And they even have like crits and crit fails. But instead of worrying about numbers, you just roll to see like, do I succeed or do I fail? I even did a hardcore mode at one point, and the idea was that you just rolled all 5 at the same time and you were going to have a result one way or another. All right, last and certainly not least are these sort of directional dice, and they're really fun if your players get like lost on a hex or something like that, or have to move in a random direction and you want to roll. Okay, I think that's it for most of my super weird dice, but can't forget this D1 that I have. This is just my random drawer of dice. I think these are mostly a DCC set that all has different colored dice for each different die denomination. And yeah, I have like 3 more bags full of those just in case we play DCC and people don't know what the different dice are. I can just say, oh, it's the D12 is the black one with the weird lines around it that's all digital. Or the D30 is the big purple one. Here's a cool Zelda bag I bought offline at one point, and I keep all of my generic sets of dice in here that I hand out to players if they show up and they don't own any dice. These are just pretty basic sets, nothing too fancy, but at one point GameStop was selling dice and these were all on sale for like $2, so I was like, yeah, I'll take all of them. Well, this is proof that I need to stop buying dice because I just realized I have 2 sets of the Dragonbane dice. But I really like these for like roll under games because they have a 20 is a demon, which reminds me that that's bad. And a 1 is a dragon, which tells my brain that's good and that's a crit. Also, they're pretty legible, which is nice. At one point, I was just trying out different dice bag things, and there were these like clasp style ones that have a little thingy that you pull. I don't know what you call that, drawstring, I guess. And so these are just all of some of my favorite color dice. And I kept buying this one set over and over for some reason. I have like the jumbo size, the regular size, and the tiny size. And I just like blue-green colored things. They're some of my favorites. Oh yeah, here's some weird dice I forgot I had. These go with the Genesis system, or like the Star Wars, you know, Edge of the Empire kind of games. They just are dice that cancel each other out when you roll them, and you need them to play that game. They're pretty cool though. I like the different colors. So I mentioned I'm a dice hoarder because I just color separated these at some point. These are some of the dice sets I would use more often just because I could read them very clearly. They were more legible and I liked the different colors, or I would hand them to players. And this thing is actually also like a dice tower. I might not be able to show it, but it stands up in here and you can like roll into the top and it rolls out into this little area, which is fun. And these are like TPK dice I got while I was in Portland from a little bar called Total Party Kill. Yeah, these are mostly all generic sets, except I did get these while I was in France, and they're supposed to be like weighted in a way that they're really balanced, so those are cool. And I have a lot more of what I'm just going to call these sort of generic sets. In fact, this was the first set I ever bought. This is my first set of dice that I bought for my first D&D or Pathfinder game. But I got these because they're sort of the classic style where they're the different colors, so they're really helpful for new players. And these were some I got at my local con, Mythic Con. So go check that out if you haven't heard of it, if you're in the Western North Carolina area. I won't touch on these for too long because I don't like to give negative reviews, but I don't know. These aren't as egregious as some of the others I've seen, but they have these fun little inclusions, which are these eyes that are always looking up at you. I actually like this style of D4. But I will probably never use these in a game because they're just so shiny and there's so much going on that sometimes I can't really tell what the result is, and that is not my favorite thing with dice. So this might be one of the first sets I end up giving away. So make sure you hit that bell icon so you know whenever I go live, because I'll probably give away this dice set right here. They're really pretty though. I like them a lot. I just don't think I'll ever use them, so I'm probably going to give them away. Yeah, along with my sort of generic sets, there is this tube that you can open up, and it has like a map of the, I guess, the Sword Coast. You can unzip it and keep your dice inside here, and I have a bunch of these like Warhammer style dice with the chaos symbol on them because choose chaos. Now, last but certainly not least, moving on to a few of my favorite sets, and some of these came with games. Like this is the Land of Eam set. It does have some inclusions which alter the color a little bit, but they're still pretty large dice and they're very legible. And if you know me, I'm becoming a geriatric old man and I need my large print, like these pirate board dice I really love. I love the font choice on the numbers. I don't know if you can see those too clearly here. I'll just pour them out now. They also come with this little D2, which I thought was cool. And the other side is a skull. Okay, last and certainly not least, I've talked about these in many other videos. This is my main dice bag I take everywhere with me. It includes my meeples and my pogs, which I use for pretty much any game, and has two of my favorite sets of dice. I've got my Mono Makes dice, which are probably my favorite set of dice right now. I never shut up about these. I love the font choice. I love the readability. I love the fact that the top number on the dice are a different color and sends a signal to my brain that, remember, something cool happens whenever you roll these. And it also includes this little, I call it a D2. It's, you know, if I don't have my other die with me, this is my yes, no die. And then maybe even like a critical yes or a critical no, just depending. Yeah, one of my all-time favorite sets. It is just, they're really big, they're chunky, they're easy to read. If I roll them across the table, I'm still going to be able to see what results I got. And same with my Rune Hammer dice. They go right along with that. They are just this fun little font. They're really easy to read. They're also that chunky size. In fact, let me just put them next to some regular size dice for comparison because, yeah, it's a stark contrast when you look at it that way. This is a D4 versus trying to read this thing across the table, even at any angle. You know, this is just going to be so much easier to read, and it's more fun to roll a dice this shape. So there you have it. Those are my main dice. I also have this giant goblin head D20, which I never roll because I'm afraid to damage it, but sits on my shelf and is a nice paperweight. That's pretty much it, although I did grab a few other weird bags and things, like some leather makers at my local con made this thing, and I put some of my favorite dice in that too. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully it was entertaining to you at least. Appreciate everyone who has been part of this. Like I said earlier in the video, I have way too many dice and I'm probably going to start giving them away. So if you ever see me go live for any reason, expect a giveaway of some kind, probably dice. So make sure to stay tuned to whatever way alerts you whenever I go live if you want chances to win things like dice or this Draw Steelbook, which I'll be giving away at the turn of the new year. But yeah, stay up to date with my mailing list if you want giveaways or to know what's going on my channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hope this was fun. Appreciate you guys. And a big shout out to anyone who's a patron on any platform. You guys keep coffee in my veins and keep this channel alive. So appreciate you. That's it for today. As always, make mistakes, choose chaos, and most importantly, roll dice, learn, adapt, grow. I don't know. Peace.